Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Stephen D. Kelly. This is the Stephen D. Kelly Show, and we are Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. Thank you so much. People still ask, how do I tune in? How do I listen to the show? Go to truthcatradio.com. It's relatively easy to spell. 3 words. Anyway, I tried to make it easy. But welcome tonight. The title of the show is Armageddon has officially started. Yeah. How many times have we had similar type of titles and we throw that word around? But no. It's officially started. It's part of our American military doctrine. Apparently right now, troops going to war saying, yeah, Armageddon, yeah, Jesus is coming, yeah. Anyway. I'm sure a lot of people are sick and they're worried about, rising gas prices and whether or not we're all going to die and everything else. And yeah, there's plenty of panic. If you're not panicking, if you're not paying attention, then you're really, seriously, there's idiots out there still talking about Bitcoin and all that. But obviously, sure, I can understand your need to scramble for the last shekels that you can before, you can't buy anything on Amazon because their data center was bombed. Anyway, welcome everyone. Let's see, it is now 6:04 and it's March 5th. Yeah, all this stuff started on February 28th, so this has been going on for a few days. And yeah, the idiot Trump, oh my God, on and on and on and on. Where do we start? I don't really want to go into the minutia of this whole thing. And if anything, I'll make the show short because I'm going to go to In-N-Out and have a burger afterwards. But, yeah, U.S. military troops are actually going into battle right now, being told that Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus to bring about Armageddon, which in their interpretation requires the destruction of Iran and not Israel, strangely enough, and that this would somehow bring back the Messiah. Now, of course, we're talking about the Jewish Messiah because obviously Christians know better, but I guess they're thinking that Jesus is going to return. Not Christ, but Jesus. Anointed by Jesus. Not anointed by Christ, but anointed by Jesus. You guys got to pay attention to these details because, it's all in the words. Anyway. So Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus. These are what we're being told by these so-called, I don't know what they want to call them, Jewish Christians, Zionist Christians, Judeo-Christians, some evangelical Christians, Schofield Bible Christians, whatever they are, supposed to be Christians. They still, we're going into Armageddon. They still haven't come out and said, hello. Trump is not a Christian. He doesn't mind saying, my daughter married a Jewish man, so therefore she's Jewish. No, it's like, well, that's half true. But, and I thought about how I was going to deal with this, and I'll just remind everybody that he's died in the wool. Chabad. Okay? That's all I need to say. And that's probably the most accurate thing I don't need to say. He's a Phoenician, he's a baby eater, he's a cannibal, he's a Baal worshiper, he's a pedophile, all these things. I think Jeffrey Epstein said it really well. And I'll just pull that up here. I think I sent it to somebody. Oh, there it is. One of the messages. Of course, it's who it's sent to. There's a couple people it was sent to. He sent it to himself, but he sent it to other people. When did he send this thing? 2018. December 20th, 2018. 11:53 UTC, whatever. Message. You guys need to understand that he is psychotic and would not blink twice at encouraging an attack on us, so he can leap to the country's defense mindset. If I go down, I'm taking everyone with. And then in the next line of the message, he says, cornering a rat, never a good idea. Now, you have to understand, this is Jeffrey Epstein describing to two other people whose names have been redacted what's going to happen. This was in 2018. He was put in that position exactly for this. They knew what was going to happen. Now, obviously, they, the sinking ship thing, I mean, it was a tinderbox, explosive waiting to go off, but ultimately, you know that in a genocide, they need somebody willing to push the button and to do all this for their own ridiculous, satanic reasoning. So, I didn't really want to focus on this Trump thing because obviously he's the main focus of everything, at least as far as the man that's going to, well, let's just say has allowed himself to be manipulated by, Israel, if they say. I mean, ultimately it's Chabad, ultimately it's the Intertel Mafia, obviously, of course, it's not Mossad. I mean, it's Intertel Mafia, it's Jeffrey Epstein. This is obviously Operation Epstein Fury. And this is Epstein's war, and the whole world knows it. But, and these Iranians, of course, obviously they've been planning this operation for so long, and there was no stalling this thing because naturally the Epstein thing wasn't going away, and the Occupy the Getty thing is certainly gaining traction again as a result, but either way, they needed this thing to happen. And they needed it to happen fast, but they had planned on it. Anyway. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, the amount of death right now that's going on is kind of, I mean, if you're not affected by it, you're not connected to source. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's like just like they say in Star Wars, there's a disturbance in the force. Now, the last time it was really bad, that I paid attention to, of course, was the Iraq War. Or when I say the Iraq War, I'm talking about when the United States invaded Iraq, or when Iraq invaded Kuwait, and then they drove Iraq out of Kuwait, and they killed everybody as they were retreating. When that happened, that was a whole lot of people. That was 400,000 people that died in about 30 minutes, which is a pretty big number, even by, nuclear standards. That many people dying that quick is certainly produces ripples in the universe, per se. And yeah, I could certainly feel that way back when. That was my first real taste of that war sickness. And then, of course, watching the smart bombs and everything, laser-guided weapons being used, all the stuff I had been working on all those years, and all those M1 tanks with all my optics in them, trudging across those deserts. It's like, oh my God, this is Armageddon. But no, guess what? It's not. It's not. I mean, yes, there's going to be desert warfare, and it's different, but you see, the thing is that these guys think that by carrying out some policy, by doing some murder, some genocide, whatever, some ridiculous military action, that they could force something and call it some prophetic event. And it says, look, see, by us doing this, it's going to happen now for sure. Jesus is going to come back just like we said all this time, and you got to go burn this country and kill all these people to make it happen. Now, I catch a lot of flack for calling people stupid, and it's like, for me right now, it's, what's the point of even bothering to try to teach? I mean, certainly, obviously, I have to document and I have to do what I can to promote the mission, because certainly Occupy the Getty is the only thing that's going to save the world right now, certainly. And I need you guys to understand that and believe it, but at the same time, I need to save as many people as possible. And obviously, hi, Wouter, how you doing? I'm failing in Iran, excuse me, but anyway, again, I don't need to go into the details too much of the what's going on militarily and all that, but just the very shock that you have a pedophile and you have so many people defending this pedophile, and they're doing it with verbatim proof in front of their face that there is truly a conspiracy involving Israel and the Mossad and Jeffrey Epstein and the efforts to control the country. And the very fact that these people are actually allowing this to happen is kind of mind-boggling. But again, this is the same country that for years sent trainloads of armor into Poland, which subsequently all ended up in Ukraine. Wow. Who knew, right? I guess before I go any further, I do want to mention the Kurds. Trump, of course, has said that he's going to enlist the Kurds. The Kurds will be the first boots on the ground, so to speak, and apparently there's already columns of semi-trucks with American armor. You know, when I say armor, I'm talking, you know, Humvees with guns on top and various support vehicles, certainly not M1 tanks. Who knows, maybe they do have M1 tanks, but either way, this is CIA provided stuff that's going to these guys. Now here's the thing about the Kurds. I just want to remind you, before this force of whatever 5,000 Kurds goes into the country, I mean, obviously we're talking again a country of 90 million people, and they think that 5,000 troops is going to make a difference. But and again, they didn't learn anything in Ukraine. I mean, seriously, all those vehicles, have they not seen any of the images of all the burned out tanks and burned out armored personnel carriers, etc. in Ukraine? I mean, all over the place, taken out by cheap drones, not even the expensive drone, the ones that Iran uses, but the very cheap ones, you know, quadcopters with landmines taped underneath. I mean, hey, that's all it takes. And yet they haven't learned anything. They're sending in the Kurds. But then if anybody hasn't learned anything, it's the Kurds. The Kurds just got dumped by the United States and allowed to be screwed over by Turkey. So what the hell changed? Well, let's see. Israel's now calling Turkey the next Iran. I mean, they're so confident that Iran's going to be destroyed. They've already got their sights set on Turkey. Hello, people. NATO member, largest military in NATO, if you don't include Ukraine. I'm serious. Largest military in NATO. They build their own jets, their own tanks, everything. Yeah, they have HK factories there. But that's beside the point. If I should mention that Turkey's also the home of Chabad and the home of the false messiah, the Sabbatai Zevi and those types, Jacob Frank. Ultimately, that's where they came from. So did a lot of the Khazars. Anyway, yeah, so that's insane. But I think, back to the Kurds, I mean, years ago when I was first dealing with the CIA, well, I mean, this was actually later on. I was dealing with, during the plasma beam era, which was actually a little bit later on, I was dealing with CIA guys, but it had started out after a period of where I was sort of at war with the CIA, and I sort of, got back in bed. If you read my book, that's what I kind of refer to as getting back in bed with the CIA. But those guys in particular, one of the things that they were doing that I became aware of was they were involved with controlling not Cambodian but Laotian rebels, specifically the Hmong fighters. Now, if you know anything about Vietnam War, you'll know that in Laos, which was one of the countries where they had their, clandestine warfare going on. I know many people from Laos, but there are so-called Hmong, which are hill fighters, I guess you'd call them, and they had a leader, a guy named Lon Nol, I believe his name was, and I kind of followed this guy because I knew Hmong that fought under this dude, and he told me that, and they always dreamed about going back to Laotian and regaining their territory or whatever, fighting the Vietnamese. But this was all being controlled by the CIA. At least what I thought was the CIA back then. I mean, obviously we know now that it's actually the Intel Mafia, but these guys knew. They knew that these people were never going back to Laos, and yet they kept filling them with this false hope and saying, don't worry, we're going to prop up your leaders, and we're going to do missions, and we're going to give you guys weapons, and one of these days, for sure, and it never fucking happened. And it's the same damn thing with the damn Kurds, who in my mind have always been traitors for what they were doing in Syria and the way they turned over Syrian officers who had fled to Kurdish territory from ISIS, who were subsequently turned over to ISIS to have their heads cut off. I can't forget that, Kurds, that kind of duplicity. It's like you'll get in bed with whoever, you'll make deals with whatever, and here you are doing it again, thinking you're going to take on a country of 90 million people, and somehow you're going to get a foothold in this country. You're already occupying the oil fields in Syria and selling their oil illegally to the United States. You're all a bunch of criminals. You're controlled by criminals. I noticed that a lot of the best Kurdish fighters are women. What the fuck is up with that? Seriously, CIA? Seriously? Is that supposed to make it all righteous? But yeah, so you don't think Iran is going to slaughter these people? They've already done this trick before. Several times they've done this. During the Iran-Iraq war, they tried that trick, and they all got slaughtered on the way in. The same thing's going to happen to all this American hardware that the CIA apparently was in control of, that they're assessing over there, and they're going to move in so they can have some boots on the ground because Trump's not getting his defeat. Now, before I go any further, let me cut to the chase. We lose. Okay? Now, I may have been wrong last week when I said, well, those aircraft carriers are going to get sunk, but here's the thing. We don't know exactly what's going on with the Abraham Lincoln, and it was in the Mediterranean, and we knew that something in the Mediterranean got hit and had a powerful explosion and made a huge-ass flash, and nobody knows what that was, but that was seen from Gaza. Something out in the water in Gaza made a huge flash. Now, typically that would be a boat exploding, but we don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying anything. We don't know. But there are reports coming in that there were possibly a hit on that particular aircraft carrier. So yes, it is a lot harder to hit a moving target that's relatively far away, 1,000 kilometers or whatever. Not that easy to do. But I will say this, the so-called Shahed drone, that Russia's fielding so effectively with their Garan version that the United States has just ripped off and added Starlink to, and AI, that thing is cheap. Obviously, it's become more sophisticated and they're becoming more expensive, but Iran can make just tons and tons and tons of those. And I couldn't believe it, but the United States was actually firing $1 million Patriot missiles at $30,000 Shahed drones. I mean, that's mind-boggling. Now, obviously, they're using those Patriots for ballistic missiles and stuff come in, but it's not just ballistic missiles. A lot of these drones are cheap, and a lot of these missiles that are coming in are dummies. And they don't know what to fire at. And as I said in the last show, these people that are manning these batteries, if they have 8 missiles and there's a threat coming, a single threat, they're going to fire off all 8 missiles and pray and run. Run and pray? Probably both at the same time. But either way, point is that trying to shoot down explosive bullets with other bullets is just not an effective countermeasure. It's sort of like nuclear bombs. If you're going to be lobbing bombs into another country like that, you better be able to do the same thing and have reciprocity and, perhaps have mutual assured destruction. But here's the thing. The entire city, I mean, obviously, Iran, the country of Iran, is big. It's at least as large as Alaska. It's certainly larger. Well, I mean, if you took half of Europe practically, it would be about that size. And it's like twice the size of Ukraine, which is also huge. I mean, come on, seriously, look at what's going on in Ukraine with that war, with all the money and all the stuff, and they really think you're going to conquer a country twice that size with 90 million people who are very angry because not only that you killed their leader, their religious leader, a religious man who we should talk about, but you murdered hundreds of schoolgirls. Now, everyone talks about the one particular school that had 187 schoolgirls killed between the ages of 7 and 14. And yeah, the school was located close to a military base. And yeah, at one time it was part of the military base, but that's just called old-fashioned data, outdated data going into these AI systems. You see, the United States government right now is choosing its targets using AI, using Palantir, using this stuff. I'm not going to get into the details. And yes, there is no ethics. And even if they say they have ethics issues and there need to be humans watching it, it's not happening. So what's happening is there are computers deciding if killing one person is important enough to kill at least 100, 200 other people in the process. It doesn't care. Human collateral there is no emotion, and this is what's happening. Yes, Skynet is happening, and these same people that are building this shit are going to be connecting the nukes to it. So yes, it is fucking happening. Every bit of Terminator is happening. Robots, everything. It's fucking happening. Only, I think in Terminator, they didn't really know about AI. They didn't realize that, that important step had to be taken. But I'll tell you, if anything, Iran is certainly the hero right now because they have targeted data centers, and they targeted the data center, I think it was run by Amazon, huge ass data center somewhere in the Middle East. I'm sure it sucked up lots of water. How did they do that? But they say they're going to take out a data center for Microsoft next. But the thing is that the ripple effect on the internet as a result of that attack of that one data center has had a significant impact on the rest of the system, overtaxing it and causing rerouting and issues and things like this. But bottom line is little fluctuations in that frail reality can disrupt banks, hospitals, airports, shipping, sales, retail, factories, all kinds of fun things that have a quantitative effect on the economy of a country. So, yeah, I could state the obvious. I could say, yes, the Middle East is completely screwed right now, and yes, Iran has included many, many countries targeting American assets, which is totally legitimate considering that people in the UAE and these various countries, they really thought that some THAADs and some Patriots were going to protect them from hundreds of ballistic missiles. I mean, they don't make that many Patriots. They don't make that many THAADs, but Iran does. It's insane. Or F-16s, whatever, we're going to fly up there and shoot them down. Complete debacle. So yeah, those countries will have probably revolutions ongoing right now. You know, I wanted to remind people of a few things, because Saudi Arabia, of course, certainly is touted as one of the reasons why we're doing this. Threats to Saudi, we're going to protect them and this sort of thing. We made a lot of promises and what have you. At the same time, they're like the bullies that send their troops into the other smaller emirates to prop up their monarchies. But when we look at like this war in Iran and one of the so-called objectives, they want to make it so Iran is no longer able to send missiles to countries like Yemen. And when they say Yemen, we're talking about the part of Yemen controlled by the Houthis, who have been using those missiles to control shipping and punish places like Israel. So obviously they want that to stop. But here's the thing everybody needs to understand. The part of the world where the Houthis are in Yemen also has a lot of the water that's in that part of the world, the aquifers and what have you. There's enough water there to actually irrigate. Now, sure, it probably is very easily depleted. I mean, obviously, it's look at where it is. But Saudi Arabia wants that territory. They launched the attacks on Yemen to get that territory. They wanted that water. They attacked the Houthis, and that's why the Houthis attacked back using missiles that they got from Iran. They were defending their territory. If it was up to Saudi Arabia, that territory would become part of Saudi Arabia. How is that not a legitimate reason for those people in control of that area, historically in control of that area, wanting to defend themselves? How is it that they're the bad guy? Now, it's like Benjamin Netanyahu trying to go on TV and tell everybody that we're the good guys. We're the good guys. If you got to go and try to convince the public that you're the good guy, you're probably not the good guy. That's just saying. That's like, that kind of goes without saying. Considering that these guys are bred and, to the bone to use deception and everything's a lie. I mean, oh my God, just like, listen to Trump. I mean, Trump, come on. Trump is not anointed by Jesus to bring about Armageddon. That's an incredible little bit of fabrication, but you're supposed to swallow that. On and on and on and on. It should also be pointed out that when they say things like Khamenei, the leader of Iran, the spiritual leader, Shia, Muslim cleric, head, Ayatollah, they call him, they're going around saying that this guy is incredibly evil. He's the most evil man on earth. He's incredibly evil. And I'm like, okay, he's incredibly evil. All right, what did he do that was evil? What did he do that was evil? Did he say that Israel was evil? Something like that? I mean, I personally, the whole idea of being a cleric like that would be like saying, I mean, by definition, he's a holy man, and by definition, that would mean he would be modest and pious and generous and all these things, which apparently he was. I mean, obviously they've killed enough of these leaders. When they talk about, what are they trying to say? He killed puppies in his spare time and kittens? Oh no, they do that in Israel. What was he eating the children's flesh and peeling their faces off? Oh no, they do that in America. Okay, well, what was he doing that was so fucking evil? Was he exploiting people economically? No, I don't think so. I don't know. Was it because he was Muslim? Does that inherently make him evil? He's the wrong side of Abraham. He's the side that was bred from the slave, not the side that was bred from the whore. Children of the slave, of the whore, or children of the whore. I don't know. If you read the Bible, they kind of, at least when I read the Bible, it sort of suggests that the children of the slave are the righteous ones. I mean, hey, go figure, right? But yeah, and they're the ones who are supposed to be multiply and have multitudes like the sands on the beach. And yes, obviously there's lots of them, Arabs, Muslims, however they define that in the world, compared to the so-called 5 million Jewish people supposedly that live in the world. Anyway, it's incredibly lopsided, and the very fact that this government would do it in front of everyone's face is really disgusting. But back to Ross and Johnny, or their holy man. I saw a video of one of these guys. I'm pretty sure it was the guy they killed, speaking in English, and he was talking about, well, the Epstein class. I mean, that's a lot of people say elite, but I think the Epstein class is the label that we should all use, because hell, if the Iranian clerics can use this term, I think it probably fits. But he seemed to be, when he was making this video, he seemed to be kind of almost bewildered that these people eat people. And the message of his speech was, stop eating people. And he kept repeating that, stop eating people. And he said, your leaders, your teachers, your judges, your people that make movies and do all this stuff, they're eating people. They need to stop eating people. It's almost like he was amazed that he actually had to say this little bit of, human logic. It's like, well, stop eating people. If you're eating people, that needs to stop. Obviously, that's the key to Occupy the Getty. Yes, we will make them stop eating people. If they're not going to do it voluntarily, it has to be done another way. But fighting these Satanists and these cannibals and these pedophiles, it's been our mission. It's been the reason why we do what we do. It always has been. Getting in access to those things and making them stop eating people. Stop raping little girls. Stop skinning them alive. Stop having satanic blood sacrifices and orgies and sacrificial abortions and all this other crap that they do. Seriously. It's crazy. Anyway, stop raping. Stop fucking chickens. Okay? Seriously. I mean, that's Enoch. That's God during the flood. Stop fucking chickens. Now it's stop eating people. So yeah, Armageddon. I want to talk about Armageddon a little bit, okay? Now, this bullshit that they're throwing at us right now is based, of course, on the book of Revelations. Books of the New Testament. Wow, it's really sad that they would even include that, because the New Testament is generally, well, let's just say I would prefer it. So let's look at what does Wikipedia say about the book of Revelation. One of the things that I thought that was important is the authorship. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy about that. The different names, the Apocalypse, the book of the Apocalypse of St. John. But if you look at the author here, hold on, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John. That's Revelations 1. Okay, so according to this John guy, some angel, you know how I feel about that, told him that Jesus Christ wanted to say. It wasn't Jesus Christ that said this, it was some angel supposedly talking to this guy. That's it. John. Who's fucking John? John is supposedly John of Patmos, which is an island somewhere. Where is it? Patmos. It's Patmos. Is it Greece? Greek island, Aegean, yes. Okay, he was a so-called Jewish Christian prophet, probably belonging to, was it a group of prophets, and was accepted by the congregations to whom he addressed his letter. It was accepted that John works. Okay, now let's, first of all, they call this guy a Jewish Christian. What the hell is a Jewish Christian prophet? Okay, Jewish Christian were followers of a Jewish religious sect that emerged in Roman Judea during the late 2nd Temple period under Herod, the Herodian Tetrarchy. These Jews believed that Jesus was the prophesied Messiah, and they continued their adherence to Jewish law. Jewish law. I don't know if you could do that. Jewish Christianity is the historical foundation of early Christianity, which later developed into Nicene Christianity. Nicene Creed, yeah. You know, the guys that put the Pope in charge and said that everyone other than Peter was a liar. Anyway, I'll just go back because I think you already know how I feel about that. Anyway, it was supposedly written in, what was it, 95 AD. And obviously that's well past the death of Jesus. But the point is, so-called Jewish Christian prophet, I call bullshit. Okay, all of it. Now, they suggest that this has a lot to do with Herod, and they're talking about Herod coming back and like him being the Antichrist and all this shit. But if you look at the, well, how would I describe it? The inspiration for this Revelations. It's all Old Testament. It's all Hebrew stuff, Hebrew scriptures. Over half the references stem from Daniel, Ezekiel, Psalms, Isaiah, and Zechariah. Zechariah, hello people. Have you read Zechariah? How about Jeremiah? Read Jeremiah. Oh my God. If you read that stuff, you'll know they're talking about the destruction of Israel for exactly passing their children through the fire. Baby killing. Eating humans, that kind of thing. Epstein shit. Nimrod. That's what they were being burned for and torched. Not Tehran. The Bible doesn't say anything about torching Tehran. It does say torching Israel. Oh, but we got to torch Tehran for them to torch Israel. No, they didn't think that was going to happen. Anyway, Israel is being flattened. Parts of Israel look like Gaza. Funny, huh? It's almost like, seriously, you look at it, it looks like Gaza. It's so complete. And I believe the Iranians haven't depleted any of their stocks. Now, if these so-called boots on the ground, I really don't understand what these people think. They think 5,000 guys in Humvees and such are going to make a difference. Oh my God. I'm sure they have many, many drones for each one of those vehicles. There won't be any problem taking each one of them out. Hell, one damn ICBM taking out their convoy. I mean, seriously? They obviously don't give a damn about the Kurds. But they obviously don't give a damn about American soldiers either. Now that's the thing. Trump, of course, has said that at least, 4 American soldiers have died and another 3 that haven't been identified yet. But they'll be, next of kin will be, instructed as soon as they've identified them. But here's the thing. Probably well over 1,000, close to 2,000 American soldiers have already died. Not counting CIA, etc. CIA, probably a lot. Funny how all the CIA safe houses scattered all over the place were bombed. Funny, huh? It's almost like they had been making plans and making notes and mapping all these things and figuring out what their targets were going to be like, years in advance. And then when the United States decided that they were going to evacuate the personnel from their bases and set them up in 5-star hotels scattered about the area, of course, all on our dime, each one of those hotels was promptly bombed. Oh no! There was a video of an American soldier, and of course, he was wearing his uniform, and he was crying because the hotel he was in had been bombed, and there was smoke and everything all over. And he held up his cell phone, and the screen glass was cracked. Oh no! That bomb broke the glass on your iPhone. Holy shit! Welcome to Armageddon. Anyway, so the bottom line is Revelations. It's echoes of ideas in older Hebrew scriptures. Ideas in older Hebrew scriptures. Ideas. Anyway, people, this is what's driving the genocide. This is what's driving these really stupid people like Minister of War, Hegseth, or whoever. I mean, my God, have they not figured out? Well, I don't know. You never can tell when somebody is a truly retarded so-called Zio-Christian or whether or not they are, oh, I don't know, faking it, lying. You know, I mean, like Trump, obviously, wolf in sheep's clothing. Anyway, we already know that Trump is a rat backed in the corner, and even if the Epstein stuff is going to go away, the Getty stuff is not going to go away. And so, ultimately, they're going to be putting pressure on him because, well, his ego is on stake, but it's not just his ego, because he was never in charge. He did this all because he had to. It's just like they flat out told the world that Israel forced him to do it. Some president. Anyway, okay, I don't want to bitch about Israel. I don't want to bitch about the people because obviously there's a lot of negative shit, but let's just say Iran is not going to negotiate. Even if they know they're never going to completely destroy the United States, they will destroy the United States occupation in the Middle East, which apparently they've pretty much successfully done, dismantled our bases in the Arab countries. In one swift move, and they are going to take out Israel. They're over the bullshit. If that means targeting Diamona and their nuclear facilities, obviously they're going to do that. I mean, hell, Iran has been building a peaceful nuclear facility with Russia, a reactor for generating electricity. For some time, they bombed the shit out of that. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to bomb nuclear reactors. That's not just a war crime. That's a crime against the, so-called laws, rules-based order. Anyway. Bitch. So, once again, I guess you got choices. I mean, obviously, I don't need to follow the atrocities happening to know what's happening. I know that these targeting of school buildings with little girls in them is intentional. I know that that's a blood sacrifice. I know this is obviously nothing but a blood sacrifice. They flat out say it is. We must light this country on fire in order to bring back the Messiah. What? Which God wants blood? Now, if you ask me, just from a Christian standpoint, I would say that if the United States was inflicting this horrible bloodshed and just nasty carpet bombing that they're doing of Iran, I mean, just, destroying all the police stations, really? That makes sense, huh? Schools, they didn't just bomb that one school, they bombed a lot of schools. They kind of bombed all the schools, okay, just to cover it. They pretty much bombed them all if they could. These are not things that a Christian country does. In other words, what I'm saying is that if these actions, if this bombing campaign, this operation, whatever bullshit, Epic Fury or Epstein Fury, if its intention is to bring about the return of, as they say, Jesus, but I'm going to say Christ. If they really think that that's what's going to happen, I'm going to suggest that maybe that person, that entity, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, whoever, there's not going to be an antichrist. No such thing. You're not going to get some cruel leader that's going to revel in this blood and say this is wonderful. That's not going to be a Christ. That's their wet dream. They're trying to manifest that. No, that's not going to happen. I would say, if you ask me, I would say that what's more than likely to happen is that the Christ that comes back is going to be very angry about this wholesale destruction, blasphemy, use of his name to justify genocide from people who rape children and eat people. The whole world knows that that country of Persia, Iran, is fighting against cannibals, pedophiles. You know. And yeah, they don't want to see nukes flying, but I'm sure if it came up to Trump, that's going to happen very soon. Anyway, so yeah, this is an important show, and certainly I feel privileged to have shared it with you tonight, and I hope that and expect that you will continue to take this information and spread it in such a way that we can actually head this off at the pass and save what we can. But you guys that are on the front line, you know what's coming. What more can I say? Send me money, right? Haha, very funny. Now, if you want to help out with the PayPal, of course, to pay for whatever, I do appreciate everything. And if you do, it's StephenKelly714@yahoo.com. All right? I do appreciate that. Also, please join the group on Telegram. And if you're new to the group, there's a lot of people that are new. Of course, I know that Patricia brought in a whole bunch of people from Italy. I guess that's what happens when you take our stuff and translate it into another language. It eventually catches up. But I appreciate that very much, and I would like that to be an example for everyone else to follow when they think that this mission can't, well, grow past the boundaries of the English-speaking world. There's no reason for that whatsoever. So if you're looking for a way to be helpful, well, that's certainly a way right there. Translate our stuff. Get it out there. Well, so yeah, join a group again on Telegram, which is Occupy the Getty /Stephen D. Kelly. Okay? And if you want to send me an email, not a PayPal, but an email, the email is law17gun@aol.com. Okay? That's just for email. And if you want a copy of the book, you want to become a Jedi, you want to do an interview, you want to, whatever, you want to tell me about some issues you have, or you want healing, that's what you use. You use law17gun@aol.com. All right? All right, everyone, let me see what time is it. 51? Yeah, we did okay. All right, again, I'm sorry that horrible stuff is happening to people out in the world, and all I can do is set the intention that it stops immediately, and that our mission is allowed to move further, faster, and succeed in the ways that we need immediately. But obviously, saying that Trump has anything to do with Jesus is an utter blasphemy. And to suggest that any of this military crap that's going on is somehow righteous in any way whatsoever is an abomination, and it's embarrassing. And I'm sick of it. Okay? So with that, I'm going to thank you for being here. For sure. Help me get this message out. But what more can I say? Happy Armageddon. I knew it was coming, and here it is. We're in the middle of it. Okay? So do what you can, but obviously, like Jeffrey Epstein said, Trump is a rat backed into a corner and is going to take us all with him. So what are we supposed to do? Some brave person supposed to take out Trump? There's an idea. There's an idea, but then you're going to have to take out the entire Intel Mafia at the same time. How could we do that? Oh, occupy the Getty. That would do it, wouldn't it? Huh? Sure would. Seriously, Trump's going to nuke the world, but he can't say Getty. Let's do the Occupy the Getty. That'll stop Trump. You can't stop Trump? Stop Intel. Stop the people that control Trump. Okay? That's how we win this battle. That's how we stay alive. That's how we save the earth. That's all we can do right now. Help the mission, okay? Instead of talking about the other stuff, don't talk about anything unless you're talking about Occupy the Getty too. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Stephen D. Kelly, and this is the Stephen D. Kelly Show, and we are TruthCat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com, the one and only. It is now 6:54 p.m., March 5th, 2026. And once again, the title of the show was Armageddon has officially started. And again, Armageddon, it's all bullshit, okay? Revelations, it's all bullshit. Okay, John was not a fucking prophet. He made this shit up and he just scribbled a bunch of Hebrew crap. And yet, you suckers have bought that shit like it's fucking the Word of God. It's not. Hello. All right. Once again, Stephen D. Kelly signing off. Good night. God bless. Adios and goodbye.